couple of episodes ago, I told you guys about Kathleen Matthews. She was running for the House of Representatives in Maryland, and she's also the wife of pro-establishment host on MSNBC, Chris Matthews, who you would otherwise know as the loud pundit who always does propaganda for the Democratic Party. Now, as she was doing her campaign, many of the guests on Chris Matthews' program, well, they would donate to her campaign either before or right after appearing on his episode. Now, this is clearly a conflict of interest that he did not disclose, and MSNBC did absolutely nothing about it. So now, I have some good news. The good news is that Kathleen Matthews has officially lost. Now, the reason why we didn't want Kathleen Matthews to get in is because she was establishment through and through. So not only is she married to a pro-establishment pundit, so she could just go on his show or have him do propaganda for her at any time, and we don't want that. And second of all, she had almost all the same donors as Hillary Clinton, and she's very close with the Clintons. She worked for the Clinton Foundation. So this is an individual who is establishment through and through. She took money from special interests, and she would just get in and be beholden to all the same people who she took money from. And I'm sorry, but we don't need any more centrist, pro-corporatist Democrats. So this is a win for progressives. Now, the reason why we're super excited is because she lost to Jamie Raskin. Jamie Raskin won with a plurality of the vote, 34%, and David Trone is a pro-corporate businessman. He came in second. He'd be just as establishment, if not more, as Kathleen. And she got her ass handed to her. She came in third with 24% of the vote. Now, this is a win for the progressive revolution because Jamie Raskin is actually a Bernie-crat. I haven't mentioned him on my show before. There's a lot of Bernie-crats out there. But this is a progressive individual who ran a grassroots campaign with the platform of trying to get money out of politics. And also his campaign, or his election, would actually be historic because he's openly atheist. He would be the only member of Congress that's actually a humanist atheist. So the Huffington Post writes, Raskin does not hide his humanist beliefs, a philosophy that eschews supernatural faith and holds that it's possible to lead an ethical life without fearing God. He is a member of the nonprofit American Humanist Association, which lobbies Congress on the separation of church and state, and was supported by the group's Free Thought Equality Fund Political Action Committee. He also teaches constitutional law. Raskin will be the only open non-theist serving in the U.S. Congress, the first ever to win an open seat, and just the second humanist to serve in Congress. So now, if you actually do want to support his campaign, he'll be going up against the Republican in November. You can go to jamieraskin.com if you're listening on iTunes, and for all of my YouTube watchers, there'll be a link in the description box. Now, the thing about this is that this is huge for atheists because we don't get representation in Congress. So if you look at the two most hated groups in the country and who have the biggest problems getting elected, it's atheists and Muslims. They're still demonized, they're still vilified. So this is a huge win if he does actually get elected and beats the Republican. But if you run on the ideals, you'll see that Americans don't care about these descriptive characteristics. It doesn't matter if you're atheist or Muslim or gay or straight. What matters is your policy ideals to many voters. And if you run a populist campaign, you can win if you have the grassroots support behind you. And he's proven that. He beat out two corporatist candidates who together raised $12 million. And even though they both outraised him, he still managed to win. So this is great. So that's the good news. But I've got some bad news about the Tuesday night election, aside from the fact that Hillary Clinton won 4 of the 5 states, obviously. John Fetterman, who was a Bernie-crat running for the Senate in Pennsylvania, unfortunately lost. And, you know, many said that his campaign was a long shot to begin with, but here's the thing, you win some and you lose some. I don't think this is going to be the end of John Fetterman because he managed to cultivate a really huge following online. Many podcasts, such as myself and the Benjamin Dixon Show and whatnot, have all been covering John Fetterman, and even he appeared on the Young Turks. So he is being elevated, he's gaining more notoriety, and hopefully this will boost his campaign in the future if he does decide to run. And if you're watching, John, man, please don't give up. Continue to run because we need progressive Democrats like you. So in the end, it's disappointing to see a Bernie-crat fail, but at the same time, we got to celebrate the victory. So throughout this election, I'm going to do my best to highlight as many Bernie-crats as possible. It's difficult because there are many. So if you visit the link in the description box, I believe it's sandersdemocrats.org for people who are listening on iTunes, it'll tell you who is a Bernie-crat in your state. So check that out. It's a valuable resource. We got to support these people. We got to get a brand new Congress, and we do it by electing progressive Democrats.